Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. I am so happy to be here tonight for my Trustee Community Meeting. I am the District G Trustee, so Chaparral High School was kind enough. Principal Cummings over here is our host. I'm so
Yay!
happy. We have just started recently, late last year, starting to do the trustee meetings again. That had been a regular part of our district and our trustee board of trustees. So we're really happy to be doing this tonight. So we have a little bit different, I think, treat for you, definitely a treat for me, is that we have a panel here tonight. So we're not only going to be taking input from you guys on your questions, we have a kind of a program tonight where we are focused on students and educator mental health. And so we have 3 students that are here from Chaparral High School, and we have tell me your correct title again.
Achievement coach.
Achievement coach. She's been a lot of.
We made it up.
And she is from East Career Technical Academy, which is also in my district. So tonight we're going to try to be as we're going to try to include as many questions as possible. We have pads of paper and pencils there that if we don't get to something that either you had submitted or that you really wanted to see answered tonight, please write them down on that pad, and then we will collect them afterwards. Make sure that your email is on there, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. So let's go ahead and get started, because people are stuck listening to me and the rest of the trustees all the time. And I think the students and the educators are way more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them now. We have Miss Jamie Rawson, that is here from East Career and Technical Academy.
Thank you.
She is amazing. She appears at our school board meetings, and she's just very involved with our students. These are our three experts right here. These are the smartest people in the room, along with the other students in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. They're all students here at Chaparral High School, and they're going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about themselves. So, Isabella?
Hi, my name is Isabella Vargas, but you guys feel free to call me Bella. I'm a junior here at Chaparral High School. I'm second vice president of the student council here, and that's me.
Great.
Hello everybody, my name is Daniel Metalo. I'm a sophomore here at Chaparral High School, and as well as like Bella, I'm also on the student council, and I am the Nevada Association of Student Council ambassador, as well as the sophomore class president.
Yay.
Hi everybody, my name is Abigail Donham. Like them, I'm on student council, I'm our student body president. I also serve on the superintendent student advisory board, and then I've also been a student athlete for all 4 years on the wrestling team.
Yes.
Can you say that again, Abigail, and which team you're on?
Oh, I'm on the wrestling team.
Yes.
Because I don't think everybody heard her, Jamie.
Yes.
Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm excited to be here and to be a part of this panel discussion. I think it's really vital that we're taking time to listen to student voices, and that we act on what our students tell us, so that we can continue to serve them holistically, like across all grade levels. So I'm excited to be a part of this conversation today. So thanks, everybody.
As you can see, we have an excellent panel here tonight. So what we're going to do, we're going to just dive right into it. I had an agenda here that gave me a lot more time to talk, but I thought, no, I'd rather listen to them. So we're going to go ahead and get right to this. And so I believe that we're going to go ahead and just start with the mental health part first. So is there anybody that would like to begin first? Or
So
we can
whoever's
just go
doing
ahead and
number
do the
one, you can
questions
just
one
kind
at
of,
a time?
yeah, I think they're ready for the
Are
questions.
you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So question number 1.
Alright, so as I said, my name is Abby Donham, and I'm just here to talk about one of the key stressors that students interact with and encounter as being a student. A lot of the stressors that we encounter is like the academic pressures, and then the pressures with like homework, trying to keep up with deadlines, and keeping up our grades. Talking from a student athlete perspective, it also
true, yep, good. Okay. All right,
And does anybody, we have somebody that has a question too, I believe?
yep.
Okay. Daniel, and you could go ahead and say your name.
So like I said, my name is Daniel, and the question is communication strategies for how students can handle difficult situations. What resources do you use and who can you talk to? So here at Chaparral High School, I feel like a lot of students communicate with older adults and they communicate with teachers and counselors. Especially here at Chaparral High School, we have an EL counselor. His name is Mr. Chow, and he goes around the school helping students, and he overall engaged in students' mental health and how they feel here at our school. And we also have CIS, communities in schools, that are there to help out students in any other way. And yeah.
Great, yeah.
Thank you. Abigail?
So question 3 is the warning signs if you recognize that your friend is experiencing stress and needs help, especially if there are indications of self-harm. And some of these awareness and signs of that is people's grades dropping. As a student, if you are undergoing stress, your grades will most likely reflect that, as well as emotional withdrawal. You might withdraw from the people around you. You might isolate yourself, and you might come off as upset and anger, flashing out at other people as well.
Yeah,
Thank
true,
you.
yep, good.
Isabella?
The fourth question states, what do you think is the impact of social media on teens' mental health in today's world, both positive and negative? Unfortunately, with our world, which is very up and coming around technology, there's always going to be social media all around us, whether we like it or not. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I think there can be a lot of positive impacts on social media. For example, here at Chaparral High School, we have a student council Instagram, and it's just very open to every student, and they can see what's going on in the school community and what they should be keeping up on. There's always bound to be negatives, like there could be a lot of bullying issues on social media, but then again, we always have our counselors here at Chaparral High School who are open to always talk to any student that is in need of help. And then the fifth question is bullying issues, how can you handle them, and do students know the CCSD bullying policy? This one is very hard to answer because there's always bound to be bullying around us, whether we recognize it or not. It could be something that you don't even know you said, but the person that you said it to can take it a certain way. So again, you can always talk to counselors or even go to therapy, but I think students here at Chaparral, at least within this community that we have all together, I think we do know that bullying is not something we take lightly of. And Ms. Cummings is always here helping around, walking around the school. And it's just, I don't see bullying happening as much here because I walk in and this school is just always so positive, and I'm always seeing just teachers with smiles on their faces, and I never see that happen around here. But then again, you can always talk to counselors and such.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you. Ms. Rossi?
So, sorry, I was like, which microphone? Also, I don't usually have a microphone. So I thought I would just kind of follow up on some of the questions that these students very expertly answered. I think every school has a different way that they manage wraparound services, but I do think that as a district, we are working really hard to provide wraparound services for students, and it looks different at different schools. So for example, at East Tech, we invest in social workers, so we have 2 social workers who are on campus. We also have attendance office people, student support aides that work with students, not just on attendance, but also kind of work with them in terms of academics. It's another point of contact for checking in with students. Teachers are getting training on a pretty regular basis in terms of how to kind of see the signs. I thought that Abby did a great job of just talking about the signs that you see sometimes with students. And The one thing I did want to talk about, one of the questions about social media, I thought you handled it expertly. We're all sort of learning this together. So the adults in your life don't have better information sometimes about how to manage things that are happening on social media than you do. And so it's a process that we're learning together. And of course, we're also sort of understanding right now, the most current research tells us that maybe screens haven't always been the best option for students, even within the learning environment. So you have teachers that are taking some of the learning offline, right? And doing more, I'm gonna say like more novel projects, getting students back into like handwriting, because it's really important that we're focused on durable skills too, right? And one of the key durable skills that students have to have is communication. And so if they're always behind a screen, finding that ability to communicate face-to-face can be rough. And so I've seen teachers really take broad steps, and you can see that in the way that the students sort of comport themselves. Like, these guys are excellent. They were able to introduce themselves and talk to you and answer questions. And these are the kinds of skills, no matter what technology looks like in 3 years from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, it's those skills that are going to matter. Those are also the skills students need to advocate for themselves when they are struggling with mental health issues. And I also think with bullying, last thing I'll say, it's hard to define sometimes. And so it's so important that families are having conversations about what bullying looks like. And I think the baseline is making sure that we all understand what empathy is. Because we can do harm sometimes without knowing that that's what we've done. But if we can have empathy for how another person feels, we can take accountability for that harm. And that's really what makes the difference. And I think that's what creates a positive environment. Is we're not always going to get it right, but it's about being able to take accountability when we don't. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Now comes the fun part for me, where I get to ask the kind of the off-the-cuff questions that fit into the category.
Sure.
But they are, Daniel's looking at me already like, wait, what happened?
My
there?
notes?
Remember, I used to be a high school teacher, so, you know, there's always like these pop quizzes and everything. So I'm going to basically stick to the categories that you've already spoken on and just ask you to elaborate a little bit. So you don't, it doesn't have to be what has to be the exact question that you answered, but if you want to, you can just kind of speak up and say, you know, that you'd like to answer that. So I'll start with that first category that had to do with the key stressors. I want to ask how, it sounds like all three of you are extremely busy. Two of you are on the Superintendent's Advisory Council. Been to a few of those meetings, they're pretty cool, a lot of different topics. Daniel, you're on what, the SOT team and also
Student Council, yeah.
right. So if you would all like to answer this would be great. But how do you balance, you know, like your personal life, like with your friends, your academic performance, your sports, everything? What kind of strategies have you found that work for you so that you can keep a balance with your own mental health? Whoever would like, or you can all three answer.
You just hold it.
I think it's on.
That's okay. Yeah,
Is it on?
I gotcha. Yeah, got it.
Okay, sorry about that. So how we balance it, or at least me, like talking from my perspective, balancing like our free time and sports and extracurriculars can be sometimes difficult, but communicating with our teachers, our coaches, and our friends, and our families as well is like one way we balance it. And also taking time to reflect on ourselves and like trying to figure out a schedule for ourselves with using our opportunities within our school. So let's say if I talk to my teachers saying, hey, I'm struggling with balancing this, a lot of it is communication with people around us. So that's kind of how we balance it.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
So I have to agree with what Abby said. So a lot of it just comes down to balancing things, talking with your teachers, communicating, and just overall having balance of the things you do at school and with your personal life.
I mean, Abby said it perfectly, but it's just balancing it will always look different to everyone because everyone is different, no matter what. I think common ground definitely is that we all need some us time, you know, some time with ourselves. And it can always look different to everyone. I mean, for me, it's like listening to music, journaling. It could be different to everyone else, but I think you just always need to know when your breaking point or when your stopping point should be. Like if you're too busy so much and all the time and you don't have that time where you can take a breather with yourself, then you should definitely see, you know, what is something that's taking up too much of my time that I can kind of cut back on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you so much. Those were really very helpful. I'm going to kind of cut over to Ms. Roston here for a minute, and Jamie. There's a big, big intersection as a former high school teacher and also as a trainer of teachers and working with students all the time as a trustee. How does an educator's mental health really intersect with a student's mental health and basically, you know, the environment, the learning and the teaching environment?
I think something that the students can probably relate to that exists in the life of a teacher is pressure. I think that you feel a lot of pressure, and I think we feel a lot of pressure. And so I think one of the most important things that can happen at the school level is that adults have safe adults. We want children to have safe children and safe adults, but adults need safe adults too. They need to have people within their own sphere that they can talk to when they're feeling that pressure, because, you know, just as you explained, like when it becomes overwhelming, this is my strategy. Teachers get overwhelmed too. I've had teachers come to me and just say, I have 600 things to do, I have 12 minutes. And I'm like, yep, yes you do, that is correct. And just talking to them about like chunking time, or just start one thing, or negotiating through to what is the most important thing, right? I also think that it's important that teachers are continually, as to the best of their abilities, modeling appropriate like mental health and coping mechanisms for students. So like, I'm not afraid to say to a kid, if I seem like I'm a little crazy right now, it's because I'm feeling stress. And so I'm going to take 10 seconds, I'm going to take a breath. I often tell my student aides, don't worry, I'm talking out loud to myself. I'm not talking to you, it's an organization strategy. And so I think it's important that as best as we can, consciously modeling appropriate ways to de-stress and ways to kind of manage so that students see that it's relatable and it's relational. Because unfortunately, this kind of like stress and the feeling of being busy doesn't go away when you're an adult. You just have to keep trying different coping mechanisms and different techniques. And so it's important that we're continuing to model those kinds of techniques too.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. So now I want to go in kind of a different direction here. I want to kind of zero in on Daniel is a 10th grader, and Isabella is an 11th grader. Abigail is a senior. It took me a few minutes to get that straight, so I got them all in the right grades here. So I just want to ask about your perspectives. You know, maybe we could either start with the senior and go down to the sophomore, or the other way around. I'll let you guys choose. But what has changed since you were a freshman? And have you gone here to Chaparral, all three of you, the whole time? Okay, so what has changed since you've been a freshman? How are you different? How are you noticing your environment is different, relationships, anything that you choose to speak about? We'll have a senior go first.
Alright, so I am a senior, so I have gone to Chaparral High School all 4 years. And one thing that I would definitely say that has changed on my campus, at least since I was a freshman, is our student participation as well as like our student voice. We have just recently had like a unity festival at our school, and that was a great way for all cultures on our campus to be highlighted. And also, I would like to give a thanks to Ms. Cummings, because ever since her being here, our student involvement and our student highlights have gone up. Like ever since I was a freshman, I remember being a freshman being like, oh, some of these clubs on our campuses aren't being highlighted enough, and that has definitely improved since this year.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love that.
I'm a junior, so right now it's my ACT year. So
Oh, yes.
what really changed was the switch from doing it on paper to doing it on computer, which, to be honest, it was super easy peasy. Totally can't wait for the scores to come out.
Yay!
But I think most of my time, at least, was definitely spent on like ACT studying, making sure I understand what is coming at me, because although I can't stop it, I can definitely change my point of view on it. And I know that it was a lot, Cause like I knew last year when Abigail had took it, it was seemed so scary, and then I finally, dipped my feet in and I understood, this is nothing to be scared of. And I think that's one thing that has changed since I've been a freshman.
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is going to my second year here, so but from my perspective, ever since I got here, like Abby said, thanks to Miss Cummings, she's opened me to many new opportunities like student council, SOT, and she just helped me gain much more experience that I can use that's gonna help me later on in life. And thanks to these two as well, I've been inspired, and like they've helped me guide me through like my life, especially in student council and becoming an officer. Yeah.
That's great.
That is
Wow.
great. I just love it when the women, no matter what age, get the credit over here.
Yes,
That was very nice.
yes.
That was very introspective. I want to ask a little bit about what you shared with us at the beginning, where two of you are on the superintendent's advisory council, and Daniel, you're on the SOT and on student council. What are some of, and I know there was at least one day that I was there that mental health was part of the topics. And some years ago, I was the trustee advisor for the advisory council. And so I know that mental health, at the time that before COVID hit, we were actually doing public service announcements that the council was designing themselves that we were going to put on PBS. So if you had to choose a topic right now related to mental health that you were going to put together as a public service announcement, what part of student mental health would you choose? And then I'm going to be asking Ms. Rossman the same thing. So whoever would like to start first. That was one of the ex-teacher pop quiz questions. That they didn't know about this ahead of time. Isabella.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. You caught me off guard. If this was a pop quiz, oh. Wow. I think I would. Give me one more moment.
You can take as much time as you want.
I think, for me at least, with the ACT, it was very stressful. And thanks to Ms. Cummings, we had a new class that I was kind of a guinea pig of, but it was it helped me so
Nice.
much. It's called Study Skills, and it's basically like ACT prep.
Yeah.
And within that class, we kind of talked about coping mechanisms for our mental health, because the ACT, to me at least, it's a very big deal because it's a test, and I love to do good on tests, and that's just how I am as a person. But it was definitely how to manage your stress within like a couple seconds, and I think that's what I would revolve my topic around of, is definitely how you can manage your stress. One way I manage is, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's called 4 seconds. You basically breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds. And I did it during the test because I did kind of have a little mental breakdown. And
Fair.
It just,
Fair.
I mean, it's a test.
Yep.
It just helped me so much, and it kind of helped me put myself back in my shoes. And it was just
Good.
like, you're here in this moment and be in the moment.
Yeah.
Thank
Good.
you.
That's great.
Great.
So to answer that question, I will talk about communication. So communication is key to like making sure that you're okay yourself, talking with an adult. I personally like to talk about how I feel, to get stress off my shoulders and relieve myself, like, because it's a really great way for me to tell others how I feel, like let others know that I'm not doing well, and yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
So if I were to have one of those PSA announcements, I honestly revolve my topic around the fact that not every day is going to be a good day, but we have those outlets that we can reach into, like the people around us. I know if I was ever having a bad day, I can talk to these two right here, and my parents and my coaches and my teachers, Ms. Cummings. We could like talk to the people around us, and like there's a motto that I lived by my whole life, which is no rain, no flowers, which is basically like, without those bad days, you can't truly appreciate honestly revolve around that.
Just to let Abigail know, I'm going to steal that from you.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Ms. Roston, could you go ahead and enlighten us with basically what, as an educator, and you were going to do a PSA on mental health, what would you focus in on?
2 messages. I would want students to know you are safe with me. I would want students to know you belong with us. And I think if they can know those 2 things and feel them, then we can build the trust needed to have the communication that has to happen, to have the risk-taking that has to happen in a classroom in order for every student to grow. And it's how every student should feel. We don't all have to believe the same things. We don't all have to have the same experiences. But if every student feels safe and like they belong, it's a great place to start.
I so appreciate them. I think that most of you know that my other job when I'm not being a school board trustee, which basically is all the time, is I am a licensed mental health professional and have been for 20 years. It was something that I felt like I was doing a lot of counseling when I was a high school teacher anyway. So when life threw me a couple of curves and I was forced to choose another avenue, it was kind of like a natural way for me to go. So last question in this area, and I'm going to go ahead and check in with Ms. Cummings just real quickly. I don't believe you guys don't have Hope Squad here. Do you have you don't have Hope Squad here?
Have you heard of Hope Squad? Hope Squad.
No, okay. So Hope Squad is kind of a peer counseling group, and it is basically focused on talking to your peers. We have it in many of our schools. I believe, let's see, I see my colleague, Trustee Esparza, we're going to call her out here. I believe that the Henderson schools were the first ones to go ahead and fund that, and every middle and high school has access to that in Henderson, and then some of our other schools. So what Hope Squad is, it is a peer-initiated group where trainers come in and they train students at the school to be able to look for signs of kids that are basically not doing too well, that seem like they're really kind of going downhill, and might be at risk of self-harm. And so the one thing that I think is so great is the teachers do not pick the students that turn out to be the peer counselors, and the trainers do not pick them, the students pick them. And they nominate their classmates to be one of these peer counselors. And then the trainers come in and go ahead and, they work with the teachers and with the students. And then these students are the ones that basically people know around the school. If something is not going well, if maybe you don't feel like you have a support system, somebody that you cannot talk to, these are the Hope Squad counselors. And I love the name for it. I'm not sure, I can't really speak to the origins of that, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. So the last question, again, anybody who wants to answer, if you had somebody that you saw that basically seemed to be really having a difficult time, how do you think that you would approach that as a classmate, as a friend, as somebody that you wanted to help them, and of course, a very respectful way? They're negotiating here. Who's going to go next?
Okay, so if I ever saw somebody who looks like they needed help or looks like they were struggling with something mentally or things that are going on home, me personally, I've been to leadership positions where I am inclined to helping them, one being a captain and one being the student body president. So if I ever saw somebody around me that was, struggling, I would talk to them, know that they have my support and I'm here for them. I would let them know that we have different people on campus, different communities on campus that are willing to help them. One of those being kind of like the Hope Squad. We have our Cowboy Crew, which is just being implemented on our campus. Where students are, it's a student-based program where we can, it's like a student buddy program. It kind of helps students with the transition from middle school to high school, but all throughout high school. If they ever needed help with subjects, or if they were going through something within school or at home. They always have that help around them. So that was kind of what I would say.
Yeah, great.
try to put myself in their shoes and see what they're feeling like, seeing any ways that I can help, and just let them know that I'll always be there, and let them know the chances that they have to talk to me and to all the other programs that we have at our school.
Yeah, great.
I think for me, this has happened to me before. And the first question I always ask is, do you need medical help? Because yes, you can say that you're okay mentally, but it's always medically, maybe you feel a type of way because that's what happened in this issue. And it's just it always comes down to if you're willing to talk, because some people are not willing to talk to teachers, which is why we are implementing Cowboy Crew. It just helps students know that there's always other students that are here to help you if you need help.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great.
Anyone
Yeah.
else who wants?
So I kind of like to add on to what Bella said. She worded it perfectly, but as a student, it may be hard to talk to a teacher sometimes. You might first be like, oh, like, they might not understand what I'm going through. They were raised in a different time. Well, we also want to ensure that the students around us,
No, but
know
it's
that
true.
they
Yep.
have other students that are willing to support them. And having that student, like your peers understanding what you're going through also helps you get through it. And knowing
Yeah.
that you have that similar support and they might have gone through similar situations really is helpful as well.
Great.
Questions?
So I would say that there are both Nevada revised statutes and CCSD policy when it comes to teachers having any indication that a student is in risk or danger of self-harm. And so we would follow those policies first and foremost. But I want to acknowledge something that you guys all said, which is sometimes students do come to other students first. And so I think what I'd rather focus my answer on is, because there's a lot of students here, if you're in that situation and you're advocating for a friend and the first adult you go to does not respond in a way that makes sense to you, I need you to go to another adult. I don't want you to stop going to adults until you get the response that you need. I want to acknowledge, like I said, that CCSD has clear policies in place and that we receive training annually on what we're supposed to do, but people have bad days, or you have a long-term substitute, or the counselor that you normally speak to is not available. And so I just want to be clear that you can continue to advocate. If the first person you talk to, you don't feel like you get that response, go to the next person. And then I also want to highlight that Safe Voice is a great tool. If you have a concern about a friend and you're not able to, maybe you don't have the capacity, or that friend has said to you, but I don't want to talk about it, I don't want any help, but you know they need help, Safe Voice is a great place to go. It's confidential. You can at least raise that alarm that something is going on. The Panorama surveys also have those tools as well, and so you can always raise your hand to say you need help, and they can come immediately to you, and you can say, I have a friend that I need you to go see. So I just want everybody in here to sort of feel brave and feel like you have the ability to get out there and advocate for your peers when you need to.
Thank you so much. And to add what Ms. Rawson said, we also have a program called Care Solace
Yes.
and Hazel Health. So Care Solace, and these are all on the CCSD website. And if you go up to parents and click on that, on the resources, and then we also have Hazel Health, which is telehealth services. If we have what is called a tier 2 or tier 3 issue, where basically maybe they need to be referred out to an outside therapist, that's what we do if needed. But we do have the resources within the district to go ahead and start that process. So I'm so proud of this panel. Can we give them a big hand here for I'm going to go ahead and stand up. It feels like I'm sitting all the time in front of a computer. So I'm so proud of myself because I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, which is not normal for me. So we have a few minutes before we go to the general questions that people may have on other topics. But we have a few minutes if anybody has a question that they feel is appropriate for our students or for Ms. Rawson that is on the topic of mental health. And then we're going to kind of segue over into the general questions that you guys have. And if we have time, we'll then go into the submitted questions that were sent in ahead of time. And I also want to point out, too, that our principal here from ECTA.
Hey,
she did
that's
to
my
do this.
principal.
Principal
Hey.
Natasha LaRue from ECTA joined us, and she is the principal for this lovely
For me.
staff member here. And of course, you met Ms. Cummings over here. We also have State Board of
Yay.
Education member Dr. Tricia Braxton
Yay!
here. I have my colleague that I already called a friend already on trustee as far as the staff again. She
Yay.
represents Henderson. We have, and it's kind of like, I could call out every single one of you
Yes,
as being,
yes.
it doesn't have to be a retired educator, but we do have those. We have Chris Giuliani, yes.
Yeah.
As far as, I don't want to say all your titles, Chris, because I know I'm going to forget one of them, okay? Yes.
Retired, nice.
First of all, I'm in awe of you. I was
Oh,
not
yay.
sure. It took me like 7 years to get there. But you are so articulate and supportive of each other, just in your terminology, with knowledge and everything. So thank you for that. My question would be, in our school designs, are there any things that we should look at when we're constructing something that would make it give you a room for timeout, or is there something that could be done? Oh, sorry. Is there something that could be done in the design of the school that would assist young adults in having, just a safe place, chill out room? I worked with the prisons years ago, and I brought dogs and horses into that, and it really changed just the flow and the feel. So I'm not saying but I'm just thinking, just design-wise, is there something? We went to day lighting that's supposed to help with the mind, but the district hasn't quite implemented all of that in the design either. That was 25 years ago. So I'm just curious, from your point of view.
I think for me personally, I think we went on a break or something, and we came back. I don't know, you can look up, but don't hurt your eyes. Do you see these lights? Very, very bright. And it's just sometimes like during class when a teacher's done teaching and they're handing off assignments and they're like, okay, now it's your turn. Sometimes I feel as though my eyes have been open for so long, and then I try to close them and it's just like, oh, these lights are still here, like I can't do much. So I feel like maybe turning down the brightness a little on these lights.
Yes.
And there is a dimming.
Yeah.
And that's,
would be,
yes, the dimming is perfect, but when there is assignments that are being handed out, we do kind of need to see. But maybe, I think these lights are a little too bright.
I have to agree with that.
Fair,
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Yes.
So just to answer that question in another way, I feel like one thing that we can implement in our schools is a safe place, an isolated safe place with like different types of seating that you don't see in normal classes. So like couches or flexible seating in general, where the lights are dimmer. And I have worked with an elementary school, if you guys don't know, Snyder Elementary. And
Yes.
yes, I used to go there. And they have flexible seating, and they also have a therapy dog last I checked. And I feel like implementing that in high schools is also
Yes.
important. Because
Love that.
mental stressors in high school can be really hard for a lot of people. So to know that you have that safe place and have that place to go when you feel really stressed, or where you just need a place to break, like have a break or a place to like relax just a little bit, might be nice for high school students as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, good.
I'm in favor of that.
Here it goes.
Sorry. It's like Miss Jamie said earlier, stress never stops. So it's like, it's nice to just have that place or even a person to talk to and just be like, hey, I'm stressed out.
Yeah,
I
good,
really want-
good. I love it.
Right,
No?
right, yeah.
I used to do dim lights and lamps and
Yes.
Right.
back chairs for
Right.
kids, because I taught special ed. Sometimes they just needed it.
Yeah.
They just need a different
Yes.
environment.
Absolutely.
Could use that, not just the kids.
I need that.
I'm going to jump in on this one because we have social workers at East Tech. One of our social workers is actually a former student. She graduated from East Tech. And one of the things that Principal LaRue invited her and her social working partner to do is they were given a classroom space. They said, turn this into the space you're talking about. So because we're near the mountain, we talk about being on top of the mountain, Titans are on top of the mountain. She created something called the Mountain Retreat. And so they worked together to put really cool, like flexible seating, they've got stuffies in there, they've got nice lighting, so it just starts when students walk in, you sort of feel that calming energy. And I do think it makes a huge difference. Also about dogs, we were at Trustee Esparza's event at Foothill, and the kids all kept talking about these dogs, and I happened to be friendly with Jonathan Seinold, so I was like, hi, dogs. And he shared that information, and so I'm very proud to report that East Tech will now be visited by therapy dogs on a monthly basis. So we're very excited.
I know that.
Linda, just follow up. Some school
Do you want to go up there, Chris? We have that one on turned on.
Some school districts went to
But that way everybody will be able to hear you. Yeah.
Yes.
Some school districts have implemented in the United States meditation on school campuses. Is that anything that's ever been discussed?
Are you talking by the school board, or are you talking about by the students?
It was done by school superintendents, and they put it in as a core portion of curriculum.
Got it. Yeah.
It's my understanding, notice how carefully I word that. It's, it's my understanding that there are different things on various campuses, and it is under, the principals have the autonomy. I know I was at several schools. I can't even remember how many schools I was at during Nevada Reading Week, and I was there one school, I just won't name names right now, but they had this cool little meditation moment, except they didn't call it meditation, and we had kindergartners in there, first graders, second graders, whatever, and it was called a reflection moment. And they just sat there. It wasn't prayer. It wasn't called meditation. And they were just quiet. And I have never seen, that many kindergartners quiet at one time. That all changed in the next 3 minutes when I started
Sure.
reading the book, okay? But we don't have a specific policy that mandates that. So, Tricia, did you want to go ahead? Yeah. Okay, all right.
Hello, thank you. I just want to applaud you for your courage.
Yes.
To all of us out here. I know we talk a lot about student mental health, and I know, Jamie, you touched about educator stress and burnout. And I know you've mentioned some of the things that are out there for teachers and educators. So I want to know, how is the district collecting the data to see if that is effective? And then two, how are teachers trained to recognize student mental health issues before they escalate? And how do they know how to refer those out?
Do you want me to take part of that? Or
Yeah, you want to take the
wanna
first
do
part?
educated part?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to speak to the training, right? So we do receive like a variety of training, whether it is through CCSD or whether it's at our school site. I also think that we leverage our campus-based experts. And so I do think a lot of administrators ask our counselors and social workers and other staff to kind of get into a conversation loop with teachers, because things are going to look different at different times. And so I think like at our school, this is part of a monthly conversation that we're having where we have different stakeholders that provide information. We also talk as teachers in our PLCs. We feel like that PLC time is for data, but it's also for the whole student, right? And the data sometimes is reflective of students going through academic struggle, and sometimes it's reflective of going through a larger struggle. And so we're definitely using that time to also talk about being sure that we see those things and that we speak out. And so hopefully every school, our school does a really good job. We have, it's printed in a binder on our desk that just says like, when you see this, this is the first step, second step, third step, so that every teacher feels very confident in moving forward in terms of supporting students. And then I would say, on the teacher burnout side, I think one of the most important things that schools can do, you have the capacity within your school performance plan to make adult learning and adult connectedness a part of that plan. And I think that it's important for it to be a part of the plan. I think it's important for teacher leaders to help guide some of that, because I think if teachers don't feel like they have that sense of belonging and that they're being fed emotionally and intellectually, then they struggle also to grow. And so I would say that would be my bit of encouragement, is that that's a way that you can leverage the school performance plan, because when you feed teachers, that rolls downhill in a positive way.
Thank you, Ms. Boston, so much. And as far as an answer to the question, as far as the district, our social emotional learning curriculum is across the entire district. What we are trying to do as much as possible is to integrate a consistency in the curriculum so that maybe I have a parent that comes to me and says, at my elementary school, child's school, this is happening. It's wonderful. My middle school child is perhaps not getting the same kind of social emotional learning curriculum there. So we're trying very hard to make that as consistent as possible so that, you know, that we do not have these huge differences. Because if we have somebody that, say, goes from middle school to high school and the social emotional curriculum is not as prevalent, it's not as strong, you know, that could be an issue for that child. Okay, so I was bragging before about being ahead of time, now I'm a little bit behind time. So anybody you had a question, and then we're going to go over and to the general questions if possible. So Dr. Braxton.
Sure. So first and foremost, I want to thank you and congratulate you for being so incredibly articulate and amazing with your words of wisdom. I did take note, and I will continue with the no rain, no flowers.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that. I'm going to steal that
Yes.
too.
Secondly, how many educators do we have in the room? Raise your hand.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so currently our higher education partners are working on this very topic. I know the Lindsay Institute with UNLV, they have a project that includes combining or creating a surveillance of mental health supports that will hopefully soon be available, and you can look this up. If you need any information, I can send it to Trustee Community, and she can send it out to you. But it is a clearinghouse, if you will, of resources in one location
Nice.
that can be available. And I'm so happy that our partners in higher education are helping and addressing this issue. So just wanted to put it out there. Stay tuned.
Nice.
Thank you so
I love
much,
it.
and I look
Yeah.
forward to getting that information. So what I'm going to do now is kind of segue over, and I just have to say, I forgot former trustee Sheila Moulton and her lovely husband John, who Sheila tells me drives her to all the things that she goes to. Not Sheila Moulton, I'm sorry, Diane Kinsel.
There we go. I was
You
like,
know
no,
what?
yeah.
I was
That's
doing
all.
so well.
I've only done this 12 years.
Here's a hint. When you say the wrong name and they look at you like this, I am so sorry. I had a message from Trustee Moulton not too long ago, and I'm looking at you, Diane. I'm looking at you, John. I just got you married off to a former trustee, right? So
It's wild.
Diane is our longest-serving member on our AZAC team,
I was
and
like,
she
oh,
has
no,
done
it's
an
her.
amazing job, and she is always there. I never see an absence on you, Diane. I never see an absence on you at all. So we're going to go ahead and segue. So raise your hand, and if you'd like to come up and ask a question, you can either use your projected voice or you can come up here to the microphone. But we are recording, so sometimes it's easier to hear up here. So anybody have a
Oh,
question?
oh.
Yes. Do you want to just use the hand mic, or do you want to go up there?
My question isn't for anybody like in specific, just like anybody who would want to answer. But my question is, what are the best ways for parents and like community members to stay more involved and provide feedback? So like, how will the board use more community input to make decisions?
It's a great question.
Okay. Did you want to
Great
ask
question.
Anybody?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you asking
Do you
from
want me
the
to-
student perspective, the trustee perspective, the educator perspective?
Or no one like in specific, just anybody.
I can, oh, you're okay, you're okay. I'll just quickly answer from the teacher perspective. I would just say that it's important to be involved in conversations wherever they're happening. Raise your voice, reach out, and, you know, speak up, speak out. I think that that's really important. We also are modeling, right? We're modeling democracy for students when we do that. And so if there are issues that we can speak up about, I also would say volunteering for committees when they're available, or applying to committees when they're available.
Get the right name.
And then, right, and then I think for the community, coming to school board meetings, paying attention to kind of what's happening in those, I think that that's a helpful tool. But I'm going to pass that second part of the question over to Trustee Cavazos. It's a great question.
I think right now we are making better strides toward reaching out to the community. You know, we had dream sessions, we had listening sessions, we have all kinds of sessions where we ask for the input. We have surveys, right? You guys see the surveys that our parents and educators. What I'm told constantly is, Trustee Cavazos, we're giving you the input, but now we're waiting for the action. What are you going to do with the input that you get from the students, that you get from the teachers, that you get from the parents, you get from the community? Because it's kind of like, you know, you can basically talk all you want, and the words sound good, and they look good on the computer screen. But if you don't see us actually doing anything, it's not responsive to the community. So that would be my answer. We're trying as much as possible to make better strides and to do better messaging.
Okay, good.
Everybody else?
All right.
I don't know. Everybody is going to have a microphone. They're all microphone. Nobody
Right,
wants
right.
to. I tried.
To Trustee Cavazos.
Okay.
What is the district doing? Because even though you're talking about mental health and counselors, with this go around with the SOTs and the budget cuts, the first ones to go were the majority of resources for students. So there was so many cuts for counselors, social workers, that is needed in the school. So what is the district doing to address that issue? Because it is needed. Coming from someone that works in the district, is involved in many SOTs, that is a major issue. I mean, I have elementary schools that don't have a counselor. There is no social worker. Communities and service, a lot of the time they're out because the budget for the district paid for some of it. Now it comes out of the school's budget. So what is being done? We know we made it. I mean, the students, which did a wonderful job, are acknowledging that that is a big issue. So what is the district doing to address this shortage for these services?
I'll try to answer that as best I can. It's an extremely good question. It's a question that's been asked by students, by educators, by administrators, and by the community. I have to tell you that every time we have somebody come to the school board meeting and say that they have lost a psychologist, or they lost a social worker, or a school success coordinator, as a mental health professional, that hurts me deep in my heart because those people are needed. What we are doing is trying to work with the principals. They're trying to coach them. You know, we have a kind of, and I wish I had enough time to go into the kind of convoluted timeline that we have on budgets. I know that former principals and present principals could probably help me out a lot with that, but sometimes it's very difficult as far as what's projected. And not only what you're saying, the school programs, if you have somebody come to you and say, my student, one of the main reasons they go to school is because they're in band, or they're in theater, they're in athletics, they're in choir, and now all of a sudden that program's going to be cut. That affects the mental health. That stresses out the child who maybe is not, maybe academics is not the main reason they go to school, but they know they need to go to school. But they have a whole community built around them with these programs, and they have, I'm going to just say it, the relationships with those counselors and with those psychologists, with those social workers, is paramount to their mental health. So I wish I could give you a definitive answer on what we are doing. It's kind of out of my lane, but we do get regular reports that they are working with the principals. I know for a fact, without mentioning names, that some of the positions that were going to be cut, I know that something has been done, that they've been able to, I guess the right word would be able to appeal and to be able to work something out. I'd like to be able to give you a more definitive answer, but I don't want to give you, Erica, the wrong information. But we're trying, we recognize how difficult that is. We really do. So thank you so much for that question.
I just have a quick
Sure.
follow-up, and I'm only saying this because Ms. Rawson, I can't tell you what her position is, but at ECTA and even in SOT, and I've told the principal, I will challenge if they ever decide to remove her position, because, I mean, she is so vital to this school.
Achievement coach. Achievement
I know,
coach.
she's vital, but she literally is the advocate beside her. But she literally is the one that helps students achieve either an acceptance to college, a trade school, and ECTA is like at 99%. So the reason why I bring it up is I wish every school, and I've said it, I wish every school had a roster. So
Had a roster.
thank you.
Well,
That was
thank
a
you.
wonderful tribute. Thank you.
I know.
Jenna, and then, I don't know if you had your hand up, but I missed it.
Yes,
Okay,
Geraldine.
yeah, you, and then Jenna.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, you.
Okay, this is a general question for everyone. Do you guys think that all schools should have support dogs?
Mhm.
Support dogs, like for
Therapy dogs.
Yeah. Yes.
Does anybody want to answer that? I know.
Yeah. Here, I was gonna say, we're gonna pass the mic down.
how do you guys think it would help the students?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so from seeing a therapy dog and a support dog being used in a school, I think it is safe to say that it would be great for school districts. I mean, in any school, because I mean, who doesn't want a dog in their school, like offering support? And then also, like, it offers that support where it's nonverbal. You don't have to say to the dog, I'm going through this, like, I need help. No, it's that nonverbal support, knowing that you have something there that will boost your serotonin and that will, like, just be something there for you, you know? And then I also would say that this would help the students in many ways. This will help them have that outlet to, if you see the dog, like, you know, pet the dog, it boosts your serotonin, boosts your happiness, and it helps them with their
Yes, that was a great answer.
I think it also just comes down to everyone's different and everyone, you know, there are people that are allergic to dogs, so maybe like a horse. I would love to get
A pony?
Yes.
Like,
That pony?
that horse, like what?
Yes.
But it just comes down to everyone's different when they need a little like mental boost.
Yep.
I think that when thinking about bringing dogs in or even just like animals in general to boost your serotonin, like how we're changing school times. We did a board, like a huge survey, and everyone was able to have their say in it. I think that should also come down to this as well.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, who wouldn't want to pet a horse? Like what?
Right.
I would like that.
Yes.
I think it just comes down to that as well.
I would love this survey. Yes.
I see your principal looking at
Great
you.
answer. Yes.
She's waiting for that pony to come walking through the door.
And then just to add on top of that, I also feel like adding the support dogs to our schools would also boost our school morale, our school culture. If you see like a dog walking around the school, I mean, it's just that like boost of like culture and morale for our students and even for our teachers, because as we talked about, teachers need like mental health, like support as well.
Yes.
Okay, I think
Great
we have-
answer.
Thank you. I think we have a question
Yep.
over here, and I
Yep.
know I'm keeping an eye on the time. I'm willing to cut down my remarks to give them more. So, you have go ahead, Jenna.
I need to count the clock, like in the board meeting, so you give me a sign. I want to follow up on the question that was just asked about social workers in schools. A few years ago at magnet school, one of yours, I'm proud to say, I advocated for, I was SOT president, and I advocated to revisit our budget because they were going to cut the social worker that had been introduced that year. And I advocated to revisit the budget to keep the position, and we did, and we kept that social worker. The next
Right.
They could not find her on campus. And it was not noticed that she was not there. So, eyes on, I'm so proud of the students who are willing to look out for their peers, who are willing to look out for the kid who's not showing up and sitting in front of them in science one day, or 5 days, or for 3 weeks. Yet you see them in PE. How come they're not showing up in science? That's weird. Thank you for speaking up for those kids and for pointing them out. Thank you, Trustee Clauses, for bringing this issue and for letting students have a voice, and for being a trustee at a school where we were able to keep somebody that helped my kid. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jenna. I really appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable to being able to tell that story. And they are so important. And the vulnerability of these 3 students and our educator of sharing their experiences has been so valuable. A lot of the messages I got during COVID and after COVID came from children as young as 2nd grade, 4th grade, emails from middle school and high school students. This is one of the issues that is constantly brought up, and there is an intersection between the educator's mental health and, the student's mental health, and it's just, it doesn't go away. We have time for maybe, I don't know, I'm supposed to do my wrap up at what, 6:25? I'll make mine really short so they can ask more questions, all right? Yeah. I can't believe I did that. You're going to have to forgive me for that. Go ahead.
Well,
You have my, right there behind you. Is it on?
Hearing a lot of what I've heard and lived this 25 years, I volunteered for the school district. And I have to say, I could help get my 2 older grandchildren through. Now I have 1 younger one. Communicate with your kids. Talk to them. My granddaughter drugged me to every event, You gotta be involved, you gotta listen. She has a problem with optical migraines. Lights like this
Yeah.
are terrible. Your information on medical is key. You guys said so many things that pertain to a lot of these kids. And when they go to school, a teacher has 30, 40, whatever, how many kids in her class. And it's hard for the teacher to, my youngest one, who's in high school, had problems. She came from a problem situation that was out of all of our control. And we asked for help. Now, it took us a while. We didn't get that help right away. What I finally did was I went online, and there's an area called Let's Talk.
It's an app.
And it went, it went to the trustees. The very next day, my son got a phone call about this. She now has counseling. She now has a reading tutor. Her grades have increased greatly. And I have to also say, I've seen numerous superintendents, and I attended the State of the District, and I attended Foothills Dream Session.
The dream session.
I have a lot of hope for what's happening right now. This is the first time I think the website has been helpful.
It's just redesigned.
Really?
It's just redesigned.
It's amazing what Ms. Ebert has done in a short amount of time. It's gonna be tough. Our zoning is gonna be tough. But I'm seeing so much more that's positive. I've never seen a superintendent have so much involvement with the kids. So hang in there, love your kids, talk to them, and definitely advocate. If you think something's wrong, keep fighting.
Yeah, great
Thank
advice.
you so much. And
Great
thank you so
advice.
much for your service for so long. We really appreciate it. So we're about at the end of our meeting. We could maybe take One more question. It doesn't have to be a mental health. It can be a general question, or it can be on
yep.
mental health. Yes, go ahead.
It's just a general.
Okay, sure. Absolutely.
I think sometimes, like in this digital age, a lot of the children, maybe, and parents, maybe they don't speak out, mostly the children. Because if it's something that could be dangerous or could involve maybe criminal or, maybe even sexual, they don't want it to be traced back to them. There's always like a reply to or IPN. Or if they texted, it's going to show the number, right? They don't want somebody calling the house.
Right.
Or they don't want somebody checking the email.
Right.
It could be they're afraid maybe one of their family members will check the email. And I know you mentioned safe house.
Safe voice.
Safe voice, yes.
Yeah.
Is that like a call-in?
It's call or text,
It's anonymous.
and you can choose for it to be anonymous, and they can follow up with you or not, based on the way you answer the questions.
Maybe like in some of in the schools, I saw you have like that free book thing. Maybe like kind of go back old school and put like a metal box or just a box outside, but with a key. So the students or parents can drop a comment in there, and the student doesn't have to worry about it, where it came from, or being traced back to them.
right.
They can say anything like that. They don't want to say it to a phone because they're afraid it's going to be tracked. Or text. They can say something like, "Can you call me to the office today? I want to speak to somebody." Or, "I think such and such is pregnant. Can you maybe
Sure.
check on me?" Or, "Can you send someone to go check at my house? But don't tell my parents." Or, "I think somebody's being bullied. Can you ask them if they're okay?" And like that lady was saying, they do need to communicate.
Right.
Not just the children, but the parents.
Mhm.
And I know the staff is already busy and overwhelmed, but ask for volunteers. Ask for volunteers, and I see like on the volunteer list, they ask for a criminal background check and like fingerprint. But what you could also do is involve the community. Put up signs, not just in the school, outside the school that says, if you went here to this high school, like if you went here and you'd like to come back and volunteer sometimes or be a mentor, or even come to career days. I know career days is coming up. Say you're welcome to come back and mentor or speak for career day, even if you graduated in 2024 or 2025. We would love to have you back so you can mentor or motivate the youth now. Because there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors that now digitally, a lot of the teenagers wanting to be anonymous. Even the little kids, they don't want people to know their business because they just don't want it leading back. They don't know if they're going to get in trouble. They don't know if that counts as gross or sexual or somebody's texting me or somebody wants to meet me. I don't think that should, anything. Such and such, I think she gets abused at home, or such and such doesn't have food, or somebody's threatening her, she may be getting hit, if someone's hungry. Think of it anything, but maybe just a box with a lock, but the person that has access to the box be somebody that, is also trustworthy. And just send someone around to get like that from the school, like every day or every other day. It can be 1 hour from someone getting abused, or a day of somebody going home and they're being tortured, or no food, or embarrassed to go to school because they don't have cool shoes or And that's another thing. I know there's that like Project 150 where they give the teenagers free
Prom
clothes
dresses.
and stuff, and they let them shop for like 1 hour, and they give them pantry stuff like they give them, because I've gone there to visit, they had it for prom and homecoming. So I went to take, at that time, my daughter, like 2 years ago, they had it over, I think at Palace Station or the Sahara. And they had for all the kids, it was a free ticket, and you get to go get a recycled prom dress and shoes and jewelry.
Sure.
And, I could afford it, but my daughter wanted to. And then now the teenagers, they like the thrift stores. They like recycled clothes. They like the old brands. They like the 90s, they like the 80s, they like the 70s. They think that's cool. I told her, "Do you want to go here, Mom?" Nobody goes to the mall. Mom, no. It costs too much
before or after school because they like that. And a lot of them, and I'm not being rude, but a lot of them don't have money for shoes.
Right.
How many times do we throw away or clean our closets, even as adults and staff or family, they just toss it? These kids, they're so creative.
They are.
Cut, they sew, they paint, they rip, they like.
They're very talented.
They're worse than us in the 80s. Like they're so smart. They can make stuff out of anything, anything. And I know that because my daughter goes to basics, and there's sewing class there.
Yeah.
It's full.
Right.
It's full of
Yeah.
guys and girls.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she took French because she said if she's in fashion, then she needs to learn French.
Love it.
So I mean, just one thing leads to
I love it.
another.
Yeah.
My daughter went to Hill, so I know about the therapy dogs. They help. My daughter loves pets, but I'm trying to get her to get a job. She's already graduated 2 years ago. She was on the wrestling team at Foothill. And that's another thing. Let the kids not be afraid to speak out and allow the past grads to come back.
We're doing
There's
that.
no signs
Yeah, we're doing that.
outside the school. You guys got signs, and I'm not being rude, but there's signs for McDonald's night. Come, McDonald's night, PTA McNight. Come, Canes, bring the kids, raising money for PTA. Okay, besides PTA and besides NHS, because one of my sons is Honor Society. For Honor Society, all they do at their school in Henderson, it's like raise money for the school, raise money for the school. They have Valentine night, daddy-daughter night, mommy-son night. And
A lot.
it's good,
Yeah.
but like, what about something for this, not just raising money? Something like invite them back to the school.
Alumni, bring them back.
We don't, no, but we don't just want to go to McNight or Canes
Right,
night or Panda
right.
Express night. Why not have it free where we don't have to spend money and do something back at the school?
I really love your suggestions, I really do.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm very familiar with basic high school and a lot of the things that the different schools do. I believe our staff put a lot of my business cards out there. I didn't catch your name, but if you have one of my cards there, I would love to get you on one of our committees, maybe one of our parent committees, and you could write to my email there. Okay? Even more valuable, even more valuable. No, we will try the best. We are starting to do that. We are starting to do that with the, I see my staff looking I see our staff looking at me here as far as on the time, but I appreciate your suggestions because like you said, you're from here. You graduated from, born and raised, and so you know. If you wouldn't mind writing down some of those suggestions, I would love to have those because I was trying to kind of memorize a lot of those, but we're going to probably have to wrap up right now. I just want to say right now a huge thanks to our panel here, to our students, and to Ms. Rossman. They were absolutely incredible, and I do want the principals here, the two principals that are here, to be looking out for that pony or the horse coming in the back door of the school. The dogs, the dogs I think got the biggest applause. I cannot thank everybody enough for being here. These people right here, the students and our educators, a lot of educators I saw in the room, they are the most important people with our parents that their input is so important. And I just thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here, to give us the suggestions, and to be able to listen to, this is our future right here. So we're in good hands, right? We're in good hands. So thank you all so much. Please take one of my cards. And one last thing, if you wanted to ask a question and we ran out of time, because we did, can you please go ahead and write it on one of those pads and we will collect them afterwards, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Appreciate it.